So, the 2024 rules of the PHB are about to be released. They promised us revised, improved rules that fix all the broken bits. Well, for the most part, I think they've succeeded. But unfortunately, a few things fell through the cracks and ended up in the printing press. So I am here to give you the top 5 homebrew rules to fix the biggest issues in the 2024 rules. I have a background in game design and I've already been playing with the new rules. So here we go. Number 5, shields. So the old rules of a shield costing an action to don or doff are gone. And I think that's a good thing. But the problem is with the new rules, you just use your free once per turn object interaction. So it allows you to toggle the shield on and off all the time. So even a ranged user can now end their turn with a shield. Next turn, use object interaction, store it away. And then the next turn, they can repeat the whole thing. So obviously, I think that's a bad thing because it doesn't make sense for a ranged user to be wearing their shields when it counts on the enemy's turns. And it also feels really bad for the person that wants to be the protector, the defender, that wants to be about using the shield when everyone gets that bonus now for free. So going back to the action is not the right move in my opinion. So what I've done is I switched it to a bonus action. Just like with potions, you can now use it as a bonus action and there's a cost to it. There's a flexibility. You're not just screwed as you were in 2014 when initiative started and you didn't have your shield on. But there is a cost to it. So there may be instances with it being a bonus action where a ranged user may want to equip a shield, but it's going to cost them 2 bonus actions to be able to return with their ranged attacks. All right, number 4. So they surprised us with extremely restrictive rules for backgrounds. Backgrounds now dictate which ability scores you are allowed to improve. Each has 3 ability scores that you can improve. That's not so great, but the real kicker is every background now forces you to pick 1 feat. That's right. And my favorite example of why this is a bad idea is that the Acolyte background is really bad for clerics and for paladins. Like, why? Because the feat for Acolyte is Magic Initiate Cleric, which gives you a cleric spell. So if you are a cleric, you would think that you will be an Acolyte. That's like, I would say like the main background for a cleric, but you actually can't use it. Plus, ability scores are all the mental stats. So as a paladin, you probably want to have something that increases your strength, unless you're going for a very specific build. So what to do? First of all, let's X the ability score restrictions. And second of all, let's not X the feat requirement entirely. I do like the narrative of tying your feats to your background to give you that fictional rationalization for where that power came from. But I think only tying 1 feat to it is too restrictive. So my solution would be to tie 2 feats to every single background. Here's the list of every background in the PHB and which feats I'm going to allow going forward. I will also post it as a comment. It's a little hot today for this robe, but we're gonna push through. Number 3, Keen Mind, Observant, and the Study action and the Search action. Providing clearer rules for Search and Study are a great addition to the PHB. The problem is in the feats, because the feats, Keen Mind and Observant, each allow you to do one of these actions as a bonus action. And the problem is in the 2014 rules, you had the freedom as the Dungeon Master to be like, what do I know about this creature? And maybe even in combat, you could be like, sure, give me an intelligence check, give me whatever it is. By making it the default that a study or search action is always an action unless you get this feat, you're robbing the Dungeon Master of the ability to be flexible, to be like permissive to the players to create a more fun and interactive game. So my solution would be to give the power back to the Dungeon Master, is to make it a bonus action for everyone, and the people that picked Observant or Keen Mind can do it as a free action once during their turn. Number 2, weapon switching. So the weapon switching rules look not too bad in the playtest, but with weapon masteries, martial classes are now very heavily incentivized to keep switching their weapons with every attack. So the way it works right now is every attack on the attack action, you can like stow one weapon or draw one weapon or pull one weapon down either before the attack or after the attack. And it gets into this very, very complicated matrix where you have to be like, okay, I have 2 weapons or I don't have a weapon, so I can attack. Then after the attack, I can draw a weapon. No, I drew the weapon before, so I can this time, but on the next turn, I can attack, then I can stow the... It's like, it's a mess, okay? Like, why? Why did we get here? I know most DMs are just gonna hand wave it anyway, but if the point of the revised rules was to clear it all up, to make it very simple, why make it so complicated? And when you attack with the bonus action, you can't actually swap your weapons, only with the attack action. But then maybe you could use your object interaction to like change something, but you can only like put something away or pull something out. It's like, why? Just allow it. So my very, very simple fix is when you make an attack during your turn, you can stow or draw or swap one weapon. Done. It's no problem. You want to make an attack? Okay, you switch weapons. Done. Like, why make it so complicated? That's the whole idea with the 2024 rules, is to make the rules more permissive, more flexible, more easy without all that friction that's going on. You have to be like a master of the rules to make a simple attack. No. And the number 1 fix for the 2024 rules are concerning long rests. They basically change nothing with long rest. The main change is you now get all your hit dice back. Okay, whatever. The problem that I had with long rest is you get into this optimal play with 1 encounter adventuring days, where the players will figure out that the optimal thing for them to do is to do 1 fight and then take a long rest. Sure, they have to wait, to get the 24-hour period gone before they can do another long rest. But still, it just creates this very adversarial relation where you as a GM are trying your hardest to be like throw random encounters at them or like dissuade them from doing that sort of boring but optimal play. And you may be saying like, oh, just do time pressure. Just put time pressure in there. Yes, that can work in some instances. But what about sandbox campaigns? What about quests where it doesn't make sense? And why go through all that hoops? Why put all of that on the DM instead of fixing the core issue? And the core issue is the rules. So here's my fix. You can no longer take a long rest unless you're in a safe space. So what is a safe space? It can be like a tavern, like a temple, a camp, some magically sanctified area. And by the way, like forget about tiny hut, Leomund's tiny hut, like just X that spell, okay? We're not gonna use that, okay? I'm expecting you to not use it because I haven't been using it forever, basically. And what this does is it creates this nice pacing where the PCs are going to go off into the dungeon, go off travel, and they're gonna have to push on through until they get to the next safe space. And voila, you fixed the martial caster divide, you fixed the 1 encounter adventuring day, and you're actually creating the sense of tension the longer the travel the longer the adventuring day goes on. Okay, quick bonus tip. Help action. So the help action rules are now, if you have a proficiency, you can give someone advantage on the skill that they're doing, which is okay. It's simple, it's fast, but it's also very, very boring. So my fix is, if someone wants to help, they also make a check. If they reach a 15 or higher, they give the other person that's doing the thing a +5. If they roll a 10 to 14, they give a +2. Anything else, it's 0. What this does is it not only allows people with a good ability score that lack the proficiency to be able to help, it's also, and this is the main thing, it's a lot more engaging for players because they actually can contribute by making a roll, by making a check just as the main person that's doing the check is. All right,